Good evening, Monadnock Region, and welcome to another fantastic, whale-sized, fun episode of Go Mo Tonight. I am here in the new, improved, revamped, and ultra-modern Go Monadnock Space Lounge as your host, Christopher DiLoretto, and I'm here with my lovely co-host,
Zoe Roten-Heinzman.
Welcome to another episode of the Monadnock Region's only locally focused regional comedy podcast. So, yes, indeed, though, it has been quite some time. We did a special episode a couple weeks ago to promote Viva, Bach, Peterborough, which was a delight. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully many of you saw it. Hopefully many of you came and saw some Bach. We'll talk about that in a moment. But, geez, we've been planning episode 62 for a couple of weeks now. You know, we've had some diseases, you know, some ailments.
Struck down.
You know, yeah, some consumption, you know, some real old Europe shit that's been, yeah, like some serious, I mean, not really, but enough that, you know, we didn't really want to go on camera and not be our best in the Space Lounge, you know. So it's been a while. It's been, you know, an interesting October, but not one, despite the disease, without its major highlights. And I mentioned one of them a minute ago. In fact, I have a little pamphlet from it, I believe, over here. Viva Bach Peterborough. You know, we did a special episode interviewing
Veronica Schreiber.
Thank you, Veronica Schreiber, artistic director of the operation, and between the two of us, we attended all three programs. You saw Friday night, which was, I don't know how well you, the audience, know Johann Sebastian Bach, but the first night was some keyboard works, the Goldberg Variations, which Zoe got to see, and the next day, we all went, big crew of us went to see. It was they curated it as concertos and arias, and it was a mixture of pieces and not songs, pieces, as Zoe learned the hard way. And then Sunday, for the grand finale of the festival, second annual festival, by the way, there was cantatas and motets, which I was able to go to. And guys, I tried to emphasize this beforehand. I know it's too late, but it's not, because this is an annual festival and they're going to be back again in 2024. Okay, so it's not too late. If you didn't go to this, compensate yourself next time. You have cheated yourself. You owe yourself now because of what you have failed to do. No, seriously, like, honestly, even if you aren't a like a major classical music buff, or you think you don't like it or whatever like that, honestly, there's not that much like this out there in the world today in general, right? And outside of the cities, it really doesn't exist. Look, there's orchestras, there's people who perform things, but when it comes to Bach, composer of the Baroque period, which is, along with some even earlier music than that, is some of my personal favorite music, stuff that I really get into. So I am familiar with performances in the ensembles that do them, and the period instruments and the expertise that is required, etc. And I have never seen a performance of Bach this good outside of the city, outside of Boston, not just like any city. I mean, outside of Boston, New York, you know, excellent, just absolutely excellent caliber. And I don't know, anything to add to that? I mean,
you sold it pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just another one of those incredible things that we have here in this region that, like, we shouldn't have based on our size, you know, and our rural New Hampshire-ness, but we do, and it's pretty incredible.
It is. And, you know, we think of, in the words of our esteemed select board chair, we think of our townhouse as, you know, the seat of the realm, the place where we used to do voting, the place where we still do town meeting, the place where Nicole's office is, where you can go and see friendly Linda if you need some paperwork, things like that, where, you know, there's a small conference room where all the boards meet, and then there's a grand hall upstairs, you know, and that's that. But honestly, for an old building, and a huge room, and like, just, I don't know, whatever. It's all old and wood and big and gaping and all that shit, right? It's a phenomenal concert space, that great hall. And I've seen some stuff in there. We Echoes of Floyd, if you heard of them, I've seen them in there. I've seen at least one Grateful Dead cover band in there, maybe more than one. And on that note, I mean, props to Mike Chedina. Some of you may know him as the Night Owl bartender, or one half of it, and his whole crew and his whole operation, which brings the Peterborough concert series into there, because they're bringing music in there where there just would be nothing, like nothing would be happening there, and it's a really fun time to be in the middle of the town, in the seat of the government, in this old building, and in a hall that is made for that kind of gathering in a sense. Obviously its primary purpose is and always was town meeting, but it's a hall, it's a dance hall, like it's a ballroom, and it sounds great in there, and so I love that. But let me tell you, you go in there and either, because this is the second annual, and we saw some shows in 2022 as well, a single piano or harpsichord or violin playing, at the skill level that these folks play at, just fills the entire room. I remember I think last year's program, because I mean I didn't see the solo keyboard this year, but last year's first night program was it was actually Veronica on violin, and I think the same gentleman who was there this year on harpsichord. And I was just in awe. I was sitting there like, this room was made for this sound, right? But then on the flip side, you have the cantatas, you have the full chorus. And this chorus is made up of like a mixture of like locals and professionals. And of course, we've got professional soloists and the instrumentalists in the front. And, a Bach cantata, if you've never heard one, it's a full sound. It's just a very forceful vocal wave coming at you in the most beautiful contrapuntal way. That kind of noise, that kind of like complex harmony, big sound in that room is almost overwhelming. It's awe-inspiring. It's really great. And so that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I know a lot of people around here, because I'm like this too, like experiences and like to and value that, in new things and in cultural things and things that will impact and move them. And I would argue that even if you don't think of yourself as a Bach fan, think of yourself as a classical music fan, this is good enough just as like a thing, that if you just went to it as, I'm going to experience this, like, I don't know, like if you were in prison and you got admitted to the sweat lodge that they, like Bernie Madoff, he got into the sweat lodge eventually. You get into the sweat lodge, you want to experience, like, wow, what's this sweat lodge ritual in the prison, This is a much nicer example than that, which is Bach in the townhouse. It's worth it just to have had that happen to you. So keep on the lookout a year from now, because they'll be back. I'm very excited to see what kind of program they put on next year. And and also just for the record, we did that interview. We're hemming it up now, but this is all like unofficial promo. Like, we're not affiliated with Viva Bach Peterborough. Some of you may know one of their prominent board members, Stephen Graves. He and I sometimes go at it. We've gone at it pretty hard. But Stephen's a great guy though, and this is simply bottom of our hearts. We believe in this shit, and you give credit where credit's due, even if you tussle around with somebody every now and again. And so really, Stephen Graves, Stephen's wife Kathy Lanigan, and Veronica. They birthed this thing mostly through like sheer force of will, and I just have tremendous respect and gratitude for that. And like I said, if you caught it, good for you. If you missed it, shame on you. You owe yourself and you owe the community, but it is not too late to make it right. So good stuff. And in fact, us having been gone for a little bit, right? And we've accumulated these things that need to be talked about. And believe it or not, and actually this is just as shocking to me as it may be to some of you. I mean, I'm going to come up with a weirder title than this, but we might as well call this the props episode because we got a lot of props to give out. We're Christ, I don't. I hope I am never confused with those. What are those fucking weirdos in Keene? They have their peace and love store.
I don't know about that.
They're the recycled percussion people.
They do T-shirts or
Oh my
something?
God, yeah, something like that, and
yeah.
good vibes or something like that. Like, we're not on the same team. Okay, we are not the same. But again, props where props are due, credit where credit is due, and I love praising things that are good and calling them to your attention. You know what?
You've got some good vibes.
Yeah, I may still throw in like a negative rant or two about some other things, but otherwise, I wouldn't want to let the audience down. Like they might not be here just for congratulations and compliments and things like that. But I don't know what we got a few props to give out. What props do you think should go next?
Well, my memory is fuzzy because I feel like we were sick for so long.
We were.
But we at some point, perhaps in this, I don't know, like era of illness, called upon SweenEats
multiple times
to feed our family. And,
multiple times.
And that was I think you're the one that mostly dealt with them, but
Yeah, no,
thankful that they were there to get us some food when we were feeling terrible.
There was it was like I said, it was more than once. Our props to SweenEats, frankly, is overdue, and that honestly, that's only because it took me a while to try it out, and I don't know why. Because as soon as I did, I was converted. I was a convert, a zealot even. But no, seriously, if you don't see this online, follow. If you go find SweenEats, put it in the notes. We'll tag them in it on Facebook. Go follow their page and stuff. Look, so this dude Sweeney, right? And I'm sorry, Sweeney, but I forget your first name. You only put the last name in the business, so I shouldn't be responsible for remembering it. But wicked nice guy, real smart guy, and God, I love, like, this is like when people talk about like ingenuity and entrepreneurship, and like sometimes people can get like real cheesy about that shit, but like this is like what you want to see, like this is what they're talking about, and it's not cheesy, it's real. So as many of you know, we've I don't know, if there's ever been delivery here, it has not been during the last 10 years that I've lived here. Nobody has done, delivery. If for those of you who don't know, delivery is when you call a food place and you tell them what you want, and then instead of you like going to get it, somebody drives to you. And back in the day, you would pay with cash. These days there's many ways to pay because we have technology, and trying to eliminate cash, man. We're not going to get into that, but so this is a thing that some of us grew up with, but not a thing. And these days, right? Very common in most places, honestly, with people living in them. They have these apps. You may have heard of like Uber, like a ride-sharing service, like kind of like a cab but worse. And there's DoorDash, and they are like a third-party service with an app, and they don't belong to the restaurant or to you. They just do the delivery portion for a fee. Okay, but that doesn't exist around here because it's all it's piecemeal work. It's bit work for people who are trying to pick it up, and it's just not lucrative. It's not worth it around here, or it hasn't been. And these are DoorDash, Uber. These are big companies, and so if you're going to be an Uber driver, like Uber's cut of your earnings is huge, right? I don't want to get all Karl Marx here and talk about exploitation, but like if you haven't realized, employers, take more from you than the value that you produce, right? And so that's extra true, it seems like, with a lot of these ride sharing and delivery services and such. So you just can't make a dime, right, doing them. So this enterprising fellow, who again put his last name into the business, SweenEats, makes his own. Like no app, no corporate overlord, nobody else taking a cut. He's just like, look, I'm gonna do some business calculations, and this is what I need to make this worth it. And he formed the relationships with all of these restaurants, and like, I don't know, it's been going on for a couple of years, but the turf is. They recently announced they're not doing Keene anymore, and I just want to say, Sweeney, I applaud that because fuck Keene. Okay, it's outside of our area. You're right. It's outside of our area. But any place else, they'll go to Hancock, man. They'll go to. I don't want to speak out of turn and say towns, but a lot of towns in the region, and it's a sliding scale on the fee based on how far they have to go, how many minutes it's going to take, and things like that. But part of what got me to place the order wasn't the sickness. Cause I think the first time we did it, it was before we were even sick.
Okay,
but
I can remember.
Was it Sweeney likes to make these delightful, really long posts on Facebook, and I always enjoy reading them, and I've been reading for a long time. But for the first time, I think I probably missed it before, but he posted some rates on there, and I'm reading these rates, and I have commented on every post like this since then with the same thing, which is just very fair prices. Like I know what these things are worth, and I'm reading this, and I'm like, this is damn fair. Like, this is worthwhile. Like, he's charging what it is worth to me to have delivered, and it is worth it to him. And God, I can't stand it when people wax poetic about small business sometimes, because they really can be stupid about it. But this is what you want. Like, this is good for everybody. And like I said, seems to have taken off. Friendly people, and it's not just Sweeney. There's other people working there, but like most of the food establishments have a deal with them already, and you call, and there's a procedure and all that, but it's explained. It's explained to you. It's not hard, and then boom, they text you. You pay them electronically. It's very nice, but
and he's also expanded into the Uber territory, into Sween fleets. Is that just Peterborough? Is that the same?
No, it's the same. There's it's based on how far you want to go, okay. And I think like longer trips they want you to book in advance, and I think that there are some hours around it. It's not necessarily 24 hours a day, but like honestly, try walking out into the street in Boston at 2 a.m. and like finding a cab. I've lived that. You'll be waiting a while, and even Uber in some cases, outside of major cities, you'll be waiting a while. Here, you'll be waiting the rest of your life because they won't come. They won't come. Sweeney will come.
That makes it sound like they're just gonna die there in the street, like before the next day dawns.
None of us has promised another day, So don't put your fate in the hands of Uber. Instead, trust Sweeney. But very fair. The transportation rates are also extremely fair. Everything has a cost, right? Like it's not free, but it's like just I don't know. Thank you, sir. Some of the most reasonable prices I've ever seen in my life. It's a great service. I have always said, perhaps even more so than needing delivery, frankly, just to have like as a backup, like you just never know when you're going to need like a ride. I know most of us all have cars and everything until Ivy takes them all away and makes us have bikes. Just kidding, Ivy. I love you. But nonetheless, car could break down. Perhaps you want to go. Not that anyone would overserve you, right? But perhaps you want to go and maybe get a little tipsy at the wine bar, and you don't want to break the law. And as you drive past the police station on your way home, so you call Sweeney. This is a real service. That's a real benefit to us, and I think it's great. And honestly, Sweeney, if anybody ever tries to compete with you and like you want some like backup to like fuck with them, like just hit me up, brother. Gotcha. There isn't room for more than one. See, this is your turf.
Do you know if they cover Troy?
I think so.
Could we get a little royal spice?
I believe Royal Spice is
Delivered?
one of the places. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, good segue
Yeah,
there.
thanks.
Let's
Yeah.
tell the audience about Royal Spice. It's another place that took us far too long to get to.
That's true. Like we've even driven past that and thought we should go there, but why did we even try them the day we did?
Because I wanted something different and I wanted Indian food.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was like, I'm tired of the regular options, and I was in Swansea, and trust me, not that driving to Troy and then back here is like on the way or anything, but like it can be done.
Yeah.
If you need an excuse to get some other food, but like I happen to like Indian food in general.
Yeah, me too.
And it's nice that we have Thai. It's nice that we have, we don't have a ton of what some might call ethnic food. We have our, what used to be called in the supermarket the ethnic food section. Um, the Obviously we have the delights of Mi Jalisco, which I do love, and I have certainly been known to be seen at Kagetsu.
But it was time. It was time for goat biryani.
What about Indian? Yeah. What about the subcontinent?
It was time. It was time for that goat.
Yeah, and and the truth is, I have a lot of Indian colleagues, both in the States and in India, and you get to talking about food and weather and stuff, and something like, where's my Indian? Well, we know the answer.
It was in Troy all
along.
It's in
Troy. It's in Troy on the other side of the mountain, all along. Royal Spice, Indian, delicious. Absolutely. We got a few different things so that we could, all have a bunch. I had my usual favorite is goat vindaloo, extra spicy, very hot, very nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. Can't recommend it enough. Yeah. Go there. Very, very nice place. And if you don't know this, if you are culturally unaware, which you shouldn't be at Peterborough, you shouldn't need the Mariposa to tell you this, guys. Okay, but Diwali, the Indian holiday, the Festival of Lights, is coming in about a week. And Royal Spice, of course, has got you covered for that. They have, and I'm telling you, look on their Facebook page, right? They have this whole Diwali like spread planned, and it's going to happen on Veterans Day, 11/11, which is also Diwali. It's not probably about World War One or anything else, but you could go and recite in Flanders Fields, and they probably wouldn't mind too much. But
they're having a buffet. Like a huge spread.
They got it all. It sounds
so
awesome.
Good.
The price is right, just like SweenEats. I mean, we're going to try to go if we can, I think.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, so, and if we can't, we will regret it until next Diwali.
Think about it.
We will think about it all year. And
we don't want... some of you are there.
Spare yourself that pain, okay? And, yeah. So, good props there. And sorry, let me I'm just gonna producer Jimmy something real quick here, but some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see what the status is. Okay, so we haven't heard from our friends at Yalla. So unfortunately, Hayam, who is the mom of the operation and as the boys will tell you, the talent, the heart behind it, had to have a bit of surgery. Not serious, but as I can tell you personally, having had some organ surgery in the last year, takes a little time to recover. So best wishes. Fast recovery. They haven't posted anything since October 21st when they were kind of saying that. Okay, good. Yeah. So they are planning though. So this, we never said the date in this episode, but we're recording this on All Souls Day, Thursday, November 2nd, and with the intent of putting this out in just a few hours on Friday, November 3rd. So this Sunday, November 5th, they do plan to be open. No announcement yet, so stay tuned. Okay, watch out. I asked them about a month ago, like, do you guys call it like mid-October or whatever? And, they will rock it until the parking lot that they make their home in Ringe is covered in snow. So they will keep it going. And I don't know, if you think about it, every Sunday that passes from here on out without snow is a blessing. So take that blessing and turn it into Lebanese food.
Agreed.
As long as they're open. Check back. But I hope you're doing well, and we hope to see you soon, very soon. So that's that. Glad I checked on that.
Yeah, good.
Who
else we throwing props at today?
Let's give props to let's welcome to the downtown business community the new owners of Roy's Market downtown. I can't say your names because I don't have the ledger transcript article in front of me and I don't remember. But congratulations. I wish you very well. I am, it was a very nice article, and congratulations to Peter on his retirement. Steward of the business for almost 20 years. Has been in his family for longer than that. And Peter wanted to be very discerning about who he sold the business to. I mean, the dude's ready to retire. As I know, my dad was and is in the grocery business. I've worked in the grocery business. It's a exhausting career, and if you're approaching retirement age, grocery retail. I mean, I don't want to say it'll kill you. I mean, some people, it might keep them alive, but it will take up all of your time and energy. And maybe you want to go to Naples, Florida, which is what Peter's doing now. And I don't blame you, Peter. I'm 39 and I want to go to Naples, Florida almost all of the time. But, so now we've got some people with some local roots who have taken it over. And
rumors about secret exciting plans, but we don't know what yet.
Yeah, so some of you may have frequented the former Little Roy's, which was like a little deli, little sandwich shop. I don't know. No offense, I don't feel comfortable calling it a deli. It wasn't a real deli. They had sandwiches.
I've never set foot in there.
They had sandwiches. You ever been to a deli? Anyways, I'm not trying to be mean, but anyways, they did have good sandwiches. They had a salad bar in there. COVID kind of killed it. Never really came back after that. And so, according to the article, they were being a little coy about it. But new owners, happy married couple, by the way. I keep saying they, but it's just a lovely, seemingly romantic, good-looking couple who are in love. And they were coy about it, but they said that they have some kind of plans for it. And interestingly enough, according to, again, the newspaper, this all came about because they were looking at Maggie's, which is the natural food store, also owned by Royce in the same little block there. They wanted to put a coffee shop in there. And, as events unfolded, Peter was kind of like, why don't you just buy the whole thing, have a grocery store. So I'm glad they were tempted by that, but I'm intrigued at the idea of a coffee shop with like that. Not that there's not other coffee shops, not trying to diss any of the coffee shops, but
they do all close at like 3.
Yeah. This is a tough truth that, like describing the delivery to some folks who might never have encountered something like that. I don't know. And this is, honestly, I'm picking on everybody. This isn't a New Hampshire thing. This isn't really a Peterborough thing. It's a problem. It's a rot within our society, a decay, but a festering decay in our society writ large that has changed totally during my lifetime, like during my adult lifetime. Okay, this is, and no one, it's one of those things where it changed so fast and no one supposedly like seems to remember it the way that it was before, right? But like, listen guys, the main, like most important time for a coffee shop is at night. It's at night. It's after supper. It's
think about like the Friends people.
But seriously, R.I.P. Matthew Perry. we love you. Did not like that show, Friends, but like we all know Friends, right? That's an important point, right? It's actually a perfect example because one of the most mainstream shows on all of television in the 1990s, right? Like I said, hate the show, know the show though, right? Just like all of you. And when were they at the coffee shop? I mean, they were kind of there all day and all night, but like whatever, they were there at night, and that was normal, and that was what the coffee shop was for. Because back in the 90s, the pinnacle of all human civilization, everyone knew coffee is for nighttime. Like, what the hell is wrong with you people? This is why you have no friends, and you complain about how American culture means that we can't have social lives and we just have to work. No, the Europeans drink coffee at night so that they don't go to bed. You're like, well, if I have coffee after 2 p.m., I don't sleep until midnight or something. Yes, that's the idea. Don't sleep till midnight. Take that coffee. Develop a little bit of a tolerance if you need to. But the whole point is to have a place to go, especially like, let's say you don't want to drink. Like, not that there's that many places to get a drink after 6 p.m. either, but there's a few, right? But what if you don't want to drink? What if, not just because you're sober, what if you're just not in the mood? What if you're trying to get some work done, right? God, we've lost the romanticism. Like, do you remember, like, people would sit with, like, notebooks and even laptops? There's nothing unromantic about a laptop. In a cafe, they'd go there to write. And other people would go there to, like, talk and meet up with friends and, like, discuss ideas and shit.
I have graded so many papers in a coffee shop at night.
I used to love it.
Yeah. I will point out to you though that there were multiple coffee shops open at night when we were on our southern portion of our road trip.
You're right.
Just saying.
You're right.
We went to one. At least
that is
one.
true. The malaise has not necessarily infected the American Southeast.
So that would be great. That would be a great thing to have.
Just putting that out there into the universe. If any lovely couple with Peterborough roots who has just purchased a retail block downtown with potentially multiple uses who at one time actually wanted a coffee shop. Perhaps they still do. And perhaps they understand what a coffee shop is for. And it's fine to give people coffee during the day. I mean, I drink coffee during the day too, but like, you go hang out at the cafe at night.
Sounds so fun. It sounds so good.
That's what it's
for. So that's like a hopefully a new business in Peterborough, but there are like some signs up.
Word on the street. Yeah, they got
for like some other new stuff. There's
noodles.
And there's like the gelato place by the wine bar.
Yeah. That's
and then
cool.
The noodles one I haven't seen. So you have to
be all down on the noodles.
Tell me about the noodles. I don't know about this.
That's in the.
That's not the joke one.
What?
Wasn't there like a joke sign up, like by the Pearl? That was a hot dog place.
Oh, I don't remember that, but that's me, that's a different plaza.
Right. No, okay. Yeah.
This is the Rite Aid liquor store, Ocean State Camera Store Plaza. No offense to anyone I missed.
Mielisco is who you missed.
Mielisco, Verizon. Subway when it's open. Which is never. But
and the other ice cream store.
And Ava Marie's. Yep. Indeed. So now that we've named the entire plaza, they appear. I think there's Mountain Fitness. Is that?
There's a laundromat.
No, the Mountain Fitness is in the other one. There's a fitness place though.
There is.
There's a gym.
Long Life, something. A fitness gym and a laundromat.
Liberty.
The
Freedom. Clothes washing.
Cleaners.
Yes. We wish you all well. Now there is I'm told like a ramen and pho place coming in.
I like pho.
I wish
putting all those leaves in my bowl.
I wish you well, but I wish your business well. You will make a killing in this town. That's the thing is my criticism in this case is just wholly in vain because you will probably make money hand over fist, but like I am never going to a place to sit down and eat noodles. I'm sorry. I just will never do that.
I didn't invite you to get pho.
I know. If anybody wants to take her for some pho. Yeah, but well, nice to have a new. I mean, I was just talking about having food of non-American origin, and I do like having that. That's not what I meant, but thank you anyways. Keep trying, people. Also, I want to. This isn't really a props so much as a heads up, and it's a heads up about something that we haven't yet experienced yet. Mainly because we've had a disease. This one is because of the disease, right? But we keep making wine bar references, and they have updated their guest wine list. At this point, probably a month ago, and Lisa, we're coming. All right, we didn't forget about you. We've just had a disease.
He's not wanted our germs.
We haven't gone out in town much, really at all. So we'll be back. I'm excited. So they changed it up, which is nice. They have a ton of wines that are just on their list, right? But like they have one side of the menu is some curated what they call guest wines, and they will rotate in and out. Some of the favorite wines that we discovered at Divine, and also sorry, we keep calling it the wine bar. That really is what we call it to each other. It is Divine on Main, of course, to be clear. There's only one, and same thing, Lisa. If anybody tries to open a second wine bar in this town, and you need some help dealing with that, you probably already know enough people, but like, I'm just offering my support because there can only be one wine bar, but it's real.
Second ramen shop, just let them battle it out.
Let them eat each other. Eat the noodles from both ends. Like Lady and the Tramp.
I was just going to say that.
Lady and the Tramp.
But that's romantic. That's a little less.
Right. In real, like that's the Disney version. And the real, the Hans Christian Andersen or Grimm Brothers version of Lady and the Tramp.
The head of the other.
Yes, no, they both die. They take each other out. Actually, they started off in love, but it's like that story of the turtle and the scorpion. And the scorpion has to sting it
nature.
Because it's his nature. Like that's with Lady and the Tramp. They tried to find love, but in the end,
it was both of their nature too.
Some things are bigger than
the other.
Yeah, wild animals.
I see.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, I'm excited. In keeping with the season, the tenor of the guest wine list has gone quite a bit more red than white. And while I like red wine, don't get me wrong, I've always liked red wine. As an Italian, almost a stereotypical Italian, like my favorite red is generally like a cheap table red, like a blend, like just an Italian jug ass blend of wine. And I will probably always feel that way. And in fact, if you want a good recommendation, if you can't make it yet to the wine bar, if you can, just go see Lisa, and she will tell you what to do. But if you're not there, whatever, and you're going to Shaw's or the liquor store, whatever, go to the red varietals section and find yourself some Bully Hill Love My Goat red blend. That is a table wine. That's from the Finger Lakes too. It's absolutely delicious. I've been drinking it for years. It's cheap. However, Lisa, I invite you. Show me the wines. Show me the reds. Give me the reds that I want to have. We're gonna get flights. We're gonna try a bunch of them. We're gonna explore. That's what we're gonna do. And because we drink a lot more white wine than red wine all year, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I don't care. I'm almost 40 years old. I drink what the fuck I want. And like say, somebody I see things online where people are like, if you order such and such, like the bartender is gonna think that like less of you, and we don't care what the bartender thinks about what we ordered for a drink. Like that's stupid. That's one of the great things about getting older. If there's any 20-year-olds listening to this, which you shouldn't be going to a bar, but you should be trying to go to the bar. Anyways.
We're gonna try
the reds, and maybe it turns out that we still end up next time we go back. We're gonna order some whites, maybe. but maybe just like I did many years ago with Love My Goat, we're gonna fall in love with a red that is seasonally appropriate and has the right I wanted to say terpenes, but that's weed. It's got a piney kind of little bit of diesel in it. Red, but I think blossoms, floral. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Did you say notes?
Aroma, notes was the word I was looking for. Thank you. I wasn't anywhere near there, but that's what I was going for. Notes. Yeah, we're gonna do this in the next several days.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I look forward to this.
Yes. Me too. Now
that might be the end of the props on this list of topics.
Let's give props to ourselves. Next.
Oh, okay.
No, not really. These are more announcements than props. Okay. But we got some cool shit coming up. Actually, primarily on the Monadnock Underground side of things, our creative arm. For those of you who don't know, at some point, and I've teased this in a variety of venues. I don't think on the program yet, but now's our moment. At some point, I don't know, between now and the end of the year, probably there will be an announcement about, as they say in the corporate world, some M&A activity.
Which I feel like we've
on the creative
told
side.
So many people about,
Have we?
In person?
How many people know? I don't know. We did actually. Yes, we have
several conversations.
We've had a bunch. Yeah. I'm gonna wait until we have all the proper things aligned before we talk about it. But exciting. It means growth. It means growth for our creative arm, and it means a whole other side of things. And it is a chance to really do a bit of honor for a friend. A friend of all of ours, but a friend of us, personally and of the organization, Monadnock Underground. So cool, that's cool. But in a more concrete and less vague and cryptic way, we can say that 1 week from tonight, now you're listening to this tomorrow, so 6 days from now, on Thursday, November 9th, it will be our monthly. Many of you don't know this because we do a terrible job at cross promotion here, right? But every month on the second Thursday of the month, co-hosted by the benevolent folks at the Peterborough Town Library. I always want to call it historic, but that's just because it has the spirits of history in it. But it's actually brand new.
It's like prehistoric in another sense of that word.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. It will be historic. The future historic 1833 room, the Grand Hall of the Peterborough Town Library. Every month, second Thursday of the month, we do Monadnock Underground, Peterborough Town Library Writers' Night Out, which is an open mic for writers. And if that sounds intimidating to you, or if you are used to workshop type environments when it comes to like writing groups, that's not really what we do. It's truly a pure open mic. It's not about feedback, although certainly informal conversations will always happen. People will tell you what they liked, and mostly just what they like, but sometimes what you could work on in your piece.
I think if you're open to
it. If you're open to it. I don't think people will just come up to you and critique
it's
you.
It's not an open critique kind of vibe at all. It can be a little different from time to time because there's kind of like a rotating
it's just drop in.
Group of people just drop in. There's quite a group of regulars that are there most months, and so we've kind of heard some of their pieces like little bits at a time. We're starting to get the bigger picture of some of their pieces, but they're all, what they share certainly stands alone if you're just coming to it fresh. But some months it's like people that I've never met before.
You get first timers all the time.
Come in, last month, Chris was taken down by the illness, I think, right?
Taken out, yep.
That long ago.
Yep.
That began, wow. So
it's a bad disease.
Yeah. So it ended up being me and several first-timers, and everyone shared poetry, which sometimes is poetry, sometimes it's prose, and the character of it very different from time to time.
Totally.
So you
never know what you're going to get, which makes it exciting.
It does make it exciting.
To that point, like if you're wondering like what it's cool to read, like we have poems, and a lot of times because people wonder, is it too long, is it too short, and all this stuff, and like man, like we this runs from 5:30 p.m. to 7. And for those of you who don't know, our new, wonderful, delightful, beautiful town library is set up in a modern sort of way, so that they can actually close the library. They can lock up the sensitive parts, with all the valuable things, right? But
it's like a chastity belt.
Just
Snap
like
it right on.
It's the library's chastity belt. That's what it is. They draw it closed and they close the door. But like the 1833 room and then downstairs where they have the two conference rooms, excuse me, those remain open for renters, and even after hours. So really, we don't even really have a hard stop. So, and we're not hard asses about it, So it can be long. People who read poetry often read 4 or 5 poems. But we have short stories, we have personal essays, we have memoirs, we have people who are working on books, we have people who are working on like 4 books, and they'll come in and read from any one of them on a given night. And it's just nice to see. It's a great opportunity to hear your own words, because as anyone who's a writer knows, saying it out loud really tells you a lot, even if you've read it in your head a million times. And doing it with an audience truly makes you realize things, about like, oh, I don't, mostly because like sometimes you'll cringe while you're reading something and you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, that's a good line to take out later. Too late for the reading, but whatever. It's healthy. It's good.
I don't know. I pre-censor while I'm reading.
I've done it. I've done it too. But it's good to get out there to practice public speaking, to and like I said, there's people there who, if you are looking for feedback, we'll be happy to chat with you about it. Really nice time, really good, really nice. Fun thing. Free, of course. So pop on by.
You might even find us reading. We've
been vowing to try to read something every month, and I got out of it last month because I was sick, but I do plan to make good on that.
But I did. I read 2 months in a row.
And I read 2 months ago though, and so I do intend to read next week. I don't know what yet, but something.
You'll have to come find out.
You'll have to come and find out. But we have more than just that this month, because 2 weeks from today, as in Friday, right, the 17th, Friday the 17th, very special event in conjunction with some new friends of ours. Now, maybe I keep saying it. I keep telling people things that they may not know, sometimes sarcastically and sometimes seriously. But in this case, I do wonder, there may be plenty of people who don't know. We're not the only awesome podcast based in this town. I don't know if you guys realize this, but and in fact, the other podcast based in this town is headquartered much closer. Well, I mean, we're all very close, but much closer to the heart of town. Right, it's right up on, kind of near, right in the downtown area. And I'm speaking, of course,
8 miles closer,
of our friends Mike and Eric Jackman of Jackman Radio. Tends to be, a bit politically focused, but a lot of generals. And unlike us, they don't just babble. They get some really good guests, and we do too when we get guests. But they get guests you haven't heard of. It's because it's not a locally focused podcast, and maybe not necessarily predominantly comedy. But let me tell you, these two dudes are phenomenal interviewers. They have a great ability, as we strive to do in various endeavors, to like cut to the heart of the matter, to really ask the real questions that might, produce some things that people actually want to know, and they're not afraid to examine the hard subjects, etc. If any of you remember when we had, it was kind of a nice moment, even if you think she's a fascist now or whatever, but I thought it was very sweet a few years ago when political candidate Tulsi Gabbard came to our lantern walk and was like touched by it. Like, I think that's really sweet. I wanted more political candidates to be at our lantern walk here in Peterborough, and that was because though they were doing an event with the Jackman Bros, and so I'll always remember that, and I knew that even before I had met these guys, but really happy to have made their acquaintance. You should check out their program. It is, like ours, available on all major podcast networks. And I think often, if not always, has a video component like ours as well. But one thing that I share with Brother Mike Jackman is a lifelong, as in from the time I was 8 years old, Zoe recently saw the proof, interest in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963. An anniversary, which is about to be the 60th this year. And so Mike, like me, has been kind of following this all of life. You know, what happened to me was my parents, who knew nothing about the Kennedy assassination or Oliver Stone, and who never, ever, ever would let me watch rated R movies. When I was 8, they let me watch Oliver Stone's JFK because it was historic in their mind, and they knew I liked Kennedy in general. And boy, you know, some people get scarred by like sneak watching like, you know, gory movies or like some horror film or like, you know, some kind of like really inappropriate sex they shouldn't have seen or something like that. But for me, it was, you know, like I walked out of the TV room and I was like, did you guys know that like the CIA killed Kennedy? You know, it's a kind of a weird thing for an 8-year-old to be knowing about, you know. Zoe saw one of my something I had written for school in 3rd grade that talked about the Zapruder film, and this was before the Zapruder film was even like widely available. Like it was kind of like if you wanted to see it, you had to watch JFK. Like it was like like, you know. But anyways, you know, I make jokes and everything like that. However, I believe, as do most Americans, and as has at various points the House of Representatives of the United States, that there is much more to the story of that assassination than the, you know, quote unquote official story, the Warren report. It's not, you know, look, it's not kooky tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff. It's if you know very much about intelligence agencies, about the Cold War, about things like that, not very far-fetched. In fact, very consistent. And it's important. It's an important story, and it's an important thing to examine. And so, joint effort, Monadnock Underground, Jackman Radio. Mike and I are going to host it. This is at 7 p.m. on the 17th. We're calling it 60 Years of the Unspeakable. And we're going to screen a film. And we're covered by a library license that doesn't allow me to say the name of this film, which is a recent documentary put out there by a director whose name I've already mentioned, that is something of a re-look at a film that I already mentioned. And it's about a 2-hour documentary, important film, and we'll do a little Q&A roundtable discussion afterwards with you all. It's going to be good. We got a lot of good responses. I think it's going to be kind of packed in there. So I encourage you all. You know, look, even if you don't believe in the conspiracy theories and all that, right? It's a 60-year anniversary of, you know, the most significant political assassination in the United States in the 20th century and since. And it's worth at least pausing a moment to think about it, you know, and that's what we hope to do together, more than push a particular view or anything like that. The event deserves some commemoration and it deserves some thoughtfulness. And you know, this was Mike's idea. He came to me with it, and I'm all about it. Very excited to do it. We want to see all of you there. And Mike is going to join us at some point next week to hype this up further. So you'll get to meet him on the program. But, you know, check out his show. And we'll see you on the night of the 17th. This is a 3-hour event. It's 7 to 10 p.m.
Maybe we'll have coffee.
Maybe we'll have coffee. Maybe we'll have a snack. Bring your own flask. I don't know. But it's going to be a nice time. A nice mid-November, pre-Thanksgiving, pre-assassination anniversary film screening at the library. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Mike, we'll see you next week on here. Good stuff. And you know, I think that the last thing that we want to talk about this week is actually one more piece of props. One more piece of props. Now, you know, I'm not going to go through the whole spiel and the whole story, but just suffice it to say that about 3 or 4 months ago, in the middle of the summer, it was during our road trip. Zoe and I decided to pick up a new vice, and that vice is print magazines filled with essays on ideas and various things that we wouldn't necessarily encounter on the internet through algorithmic channels or through reading a daily New York Times online or The Economist or something like that, right? And so one of those magazines that we kind of said, like, look, if we buy one and we read some of it and decide that we want to buy a second one, then that means we will get a subscription, because they're usually, it's just economical to do that, and it makes sense. One such thing we decided to get a subscription to is Harper's Magazine. Now, storied publication. I'm going to insert into this episode audio from The Wire that will teach you exactly how important this publication is and why you should care about it.
Lamar, where's my Harper's?
Say what?
Harper's, the new issue.
You didn't say that one. You said a New Republic, an Atlantic, and a new something else.
I did not forget to tell you Harper's. Every week I tell you the same shit, and every week you forget half of what I say. Tomorrow, first thing, you go down to the newsstand and you get Harper's. And The Nation, too, which you also managed to forget.
But, you know, nice magazine. But first one we got in the mail from our subscription, right? And lo and behold, you can see this cover. It's got Cornel West and Marianne Williamson and, of course, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And, you know, you open it up. Now, I didn't find this out by coincidence. I did have a heads up that this would be in here, but only one day before the thing arrived in the mail, and I'm not actually going to be able to find the thing, but reporter came out to New Hampshire to do this article back in June, and who is prominently quoted in it with a delightful and bold and courageous quote, but none other than the Honorable and our own Representative Jonah Wheeler. I was really proud. Like, Harper's Magazine, right after, I mean, what a sign from the heavens. Right after we subscribed to this thing, in comes this RFK article with quotes from the floor of the New Hampshire State House. Jonah Wheeler quoted, making us proud. I don't know. Congrats, Jonah. I think that's awesome. I want more Peterborough people quoted in Harper's Magazine, but you got to earn it. Jonah has, and we appreciate that. And Jonah, we have. I'm not saying this passive aggressively. Him and I have talked about it, but probably a little. We both agree he's probably a little bit overdue to come on as well. Talk about some happenings around the State House, how he's representing us, how he would grade himself as a representative, and you know what you may not know about what's going on down there this year that he can tell you about it. So you know.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be great. But you know, real cool. There's been a couple issues since then, so you may not be able to find this on newsstands at this point, but you can find the article online. We will put it in the show notes. But you know, real exciting stuff. I think it's cool as shit. Harper's, cool. Harper's Magazine, Honorable Jonah Wheeler, very cool, making us proud. Peterborough, rockin'. Well, it's been a pleasure to rejoin you in this. You know, I hope you like this revamped Space Lounge. We've got these lavalier mics, which, you know, we didn't test beforehand, so hopefully they're working, and we have good audio for this episode. But you can see, you know, when we have this set up, we do not need the corded mics. We have traded the you know, very nicely designed, by the way. We got another use for it. Don't worry. But the circle table that's been our kind of lounge coffee table for the last 8 or 9 months. For Formica, this wonderful vintage Formica table. And I just want to explain to you one more thing that you may not know, which is that this is what your countertop should be made out of. Fuck your granite, okay? Nobody wants that scratchy shit. You know, you want a fucking slab of rock, you know, on your thing. Like, why don't you just go live outside? For Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. I just don't get it. Formica, this mid-century petroleum-made, but in a good way, material. It's a laminate that goes on the table. It lasts forever. It's gorgeous. You can have unlimited designs. It's smooth. It's easy to clean, you know. So something that we've been learning lately is that like one way and I don't like to be somebody who harps on this, but like, people talk a lot about our disposable culture, and we make cheap things that are crappy, and there's a lot of planned obsolescence, so you buy more things, and nothing lasts like it used to. And much as I think it's cheesy to like talk about that in public, it is true. It is true. And we have found in a lot of ways, from coats, which in an upcoming episode, we will help you with your coats so that you don't have to wear those ugly ass coats all the time. Well, it might help you with boots too, but coats, I got you covered already, right? But this is true from everything from coats to tables to toasters to, any number of things, certainly light bulbs. But these things that used to be built to last, well, it turns out they actually do. And that means that they are still out there. And not to be disrespectful, but we all know it's true. There's a lot of boomers who are crossing the Rainbow Bridge. Their kids are selling their houses. They're doing estate sales. They have houses that are designed in the god-awful, ugly, modern farmhouse style, and thus have no use for mica or stylish coats or anything resembling good taste. But so they sell it. They don't want it. They don't care. They live in Colorado. They live in Denver. They live in Denver. They have a dog. They like IPAs, and they scoff at people who have live, laugh, love signs, but they decorate. They have a modern farmhouse style house, which, guys, let me tell you, there's no grounds. That is not a pedestal to stand and look down on people from. Anyways, they don't care though. They don't want the goods. They don't want the home. They don't want any of it. They want it liquidated so that they can have more money to pay overpriced rent in fucking Colorado and pay the vet bill for their dog that they try to keep alive much longer than it should. Okay, you can get some really good stuff that looks good and will continue to last well into the next century because it was made well. I mean, I imagine that your granite countertop isn't going to crumble. Okay, I get that, right? But will it bring you love? I don't know. Will a Formica countertop do that? It might. Yeah, it might. There's a chance at least. So, with that being said, that's my final piece of advice that I will give you. Even if you don't get it from me, until we meet again, I really urge you very strongly. People are tense out there. Airplane pilots are some of the worst of them all. God almighty, say a prayer before you get on a plane, okay? But take good advice. We'll see you next time. That's our show. Thank you.